There is a reason for your anger to arise, and it's not always just being triggered or anything unresolved or anything from your past, because I feel like this is many times bypassed in a spiritual community, and we are being fed this narrative that anger means something bad, something we shouldn't even express, something that needs to be very much tamed inside of us, that we should all be love and light and everything perfect and never get triggered and never really show our anger or our disapproval or our disappointment. So I want to touch up on this because anger itself is a really powerful emotion, and when you learn how to access it, how to work with it, and how to distinguish when you are being triggered from past traumatic experiences or from past experiences in general, and when you are actually faced with a situation that is actually crossing your boundaries or that is pushing you somewhere where you don't feel comfortable, you will understand that anger is not a bad guy, okay? Because many times we find ourselves in situations where we feel angry, and then if we don't transmute this anger, if we don't communicate our boundaries once they are crossed, or we don't communicate our disapproval or anything that is going on, and anger is showing up to actually communicate this with us, it's coming up in our bodies telling us something is wrong, something is not right here. And if we suppress this, then we are actually entering the point of resentment and the point of our body not trusting ourselves, because our body is always trying to protect us, okay? It's signaling to us when everything is right, when something's wrong, when something's going on. It has this natural innate signals that it's giving to us. Anger is one of them. So next time when you get angry and you can stop yourself in your tracks and start assessing, is this something that is showing up as a pattern? Is it something that is triggering me and it's kind of triggering this anger reaction from me, from my childhood or from previous experiences, and my body is actually getting into the pattern of repeating these signals and situations? Or is it someone is actually crossing my boundary, or something in my environment doesn't sit right with me, and I am getting this signal in my body, this anger, to do something about it, to actually start doing something, or placing the boundary, saying the thing, speaking out for something that we don't feel is correct in this world, okay? Because how I see it is that we came to this place where we are expected to be like this rock sitting in a mountain, or a monk in the mountains, and just observing life, okay? And while this is one way of doing this life, I feel like majority of us came here to actually experience life and to actually go through many different things and experiences. So unless we choose consciously this path for us, then this is not the way that we are supposed to go through life. So these situations will come up for us in order to shake us up, wake us up, and to communicate with us through our body when something is not right, if something is not correct. And especially if you are watching this video and if you already done some inner work or some work on yourself, and you actually are familiar with your triggers, you are familiar with your wounds, you are familiar with your trauma, and you have been consciously working on that, and subconsciously, let's say, and yet still you have this unexplainable anger showing up in your life, it might have to do with how things are in this world. Because there is a lot of things going on in this world, right? There is a lot of atrocities. I don't want to go into details of this, but it is humanly impossible to be steady and still in many situations that are showing up and are gonna be showing up in have been in these recent years and will be in these upcoming years. So there will be a lot for us to process and to navigate through. And I just want to tell you that being angry is not a bad thing, and you don't have to like punish yourself or shame yourself or anything like that for feeling this in your body. But what you have to do is, like I said, distinguish whether it is coming from a trigger or from a pattern that you are repeating. Because if it's from that place, then yes, we want to work with that, we want to look at that, we want to transmute that, and we want to release this so we don't get always in the same situations over and over again. But if it's something outside of this, if it's triggering situation when it comes to society, environment, and all of these things that are bigger than us, then that anger oftentimes is, it's rightful, because we cannot possibly humanly witness all that is happening at this time and be steady and still and pretend that we are not moved by anything like that. Like, we are not robots, right? Even though the society is trying to push it more and more towards that era, but as long as we are here in the human body, we are having human experience. That includes a lot of different feelings, and that should not be numbed, because that's our humanity, and our humanity will always be here with us, whether you are spiritual, not spiritual, or anything like that. This is what we signed up for. This is the part of this journey, and that's what I wanted to tell you. So whatever you do, don't shame yourself, because shame is a very low frequency, and actually I think it's lower than anger. So you don't want to spiral down that way. What you want to do is transmute that, work with that, look at that, and access it and distinguish where it's coming from, and then work with that. And if it comes to your boundaries being crossed, then yes, you should speak up. Yes, you should say the thing. Yes, you should do that. It's not always about staying quiet and not being moved or detached from everything, okay? We are also human beings. We need to be able to move through these things.